you've had to fire people.
Yeah.
How do you do it? I'm sure people here, it is the thing they probably dread doing the most.
Yes. And
how do you do it fairly without inflicting undue hurt?
the key to ending a relationship is to explain to the person that you're doing it to why it's happening. Because they won't learn anything from it unless you do that. And in my companies, particularly ones where I have a control position, I do that myself. It's the hardest thing to do. I'll make two comments about it, and I see this happen with weak managers all the time. The moment you realize that that person isn't right for the job is the time to take them out of it, because it's not fair to them. It's not about you. It's not fair to them and the people they're working with and the team that they're part of. The biggest challenge, and I generally find this at sort of the $10 million sales rule, many people have to change in going from 10 to 25 million in sales. It's the natural Darwinian forces of business. And if you don't have the balls to make those cuts and you can't deal with it, you're the wrong leader.
In other words, the skills that it takes to go from 0 to 10 million are very different from the skills it takes to go from 10 million to 25, from 25 to...
After decades of investing in companies that go through those transitions, it's extremely difficult, and it takes different skill sets. And you have to be able to, work with people. The key is, you don't want bad karma in business. When I terminate somebody, I make sure they get a fantastic package. I make sure they get counseling. I make sure that we do everything we can to find them another job, just not with us, because they're the wrong person.
Take me back to someone you've fired that comes to mind. How did you know they weren't the right person for the job? What was the telltale? Or what are some of the telltales that you have seen over your years that tell you this person isn't right, I have to let her or him go?
That's a good question, and I'll answer it with an analogy of fact. I carry two phones with me. This small one is only known by my family and very, very close friends. And when it rings, I'll always answer it because it has to do with something going on with my kids or my family or my brother or whatever. This phone, this larger one, probably 10,000 people have this number. I'm a believer that if you are an entrepreneur or a major shareholder of a company, every single customer should know if they have a problem who they can call. And when I say this concept of access, in other words, many managers think, well, if I give my number out to my employees, they may call me. and the truth is, you want to hear from them. You want to hear the bad news first. And what I found is the more people I give this number to, the less it rings. I tell them simply, look, I want you to have this access because I respect you, and I want you to know that you can come to me. And in that trust, I find that most people never use it. This thing does not ring as much as my family phone does. But when it rings, it's a big deal. And the reason I know it's time to terminate somebody in one of my companies is when my customers and my shareholders call me 3 times about that person. Mm-hmm. It's always the same. Mm-hmm. It's always the same. When a customer's complaining about a CEO or a head of sales or the head of R&D, or employees are not happy, and I keep getting that phone call, I get on the plane and I get my whacking stick out. Because there's something wrong. And no matter how you try and fix it, the market's talking to you. You have to make that decision. It never gets easy, but...
And you do it personally.
I do it personally.
You do it face-to-face.
In the companies I have 51% equity, I do it personally. I don't do it when I'm a 3% shareholder because that's not my job. But in the O shares, I'm a 50% shareholder in. If I have a problem with somebody in there, I take care of it myself. I care a lot about that company because I own half of it.